Hello, my name is Oliver Glanz and I'm a professor of Old Testament at Andrews University. In this tutorial I would like to show you how to use the mobile app of Accordance Bible software. Now, Accordance does not offer a mobile app for Android devices, at least not yet. They're working on such an app, but it's not yet available on the Google Play Store, and that might still take a couple of months, if not even more. Speaking of 2000, September, end of September 2016, such an app is not yet available. So if you're an Accordance user, you won't have access to the Accordance app unless you have an iOS device like an iPad or an iPhone. Now, here I'm on outdated hardware. I own an iPad 2, so it's a couple of years ago, but still the Accordance app works and runs quite smoothly. Now, before I get into the details of the app, let me first explain that when you have downloaded and installed the Accordance app on your iOS device, you have to first make sure that you get logged into your account and download your or a selection of resources that you think you're going to work with that, going to use with that app. So for that, you go to the bottom left to that library sign, and then you see at the bottom left this download arrow on the very bottom left. So if you click here, you will get access to all the purchases that you have done with Accordance. So you see my purchases are now loaded, and they will all be listed here. Now, this selection will allow you to select, or this display will allow you to select a couple of resources that you might want to have, and you just select them here as you see. Once you have selected them, you click on this arrow button on the top left, this arrow that points down, and then the resource will be downloaded. Once that has happened, you actually have your downloaded resources that you can access even without an internet connection. On the bottom you see that besides purchases you have updates. Updates basically is when you click on updates, it basically checks whether any of the resources you have downloaded already are have been updated in the course of time, and thus they are offered to you to download and exchange the updated version with your previously downloaded version. As you see, my modules are all up to date, so I don't have to do this. Okay, good. So let's go into the major functionality, or the main functionality here of Accordance. You can see that we have two text displays here. One on the top, which is my ESV, and one on the bottom, which is the BHS. I can slide this bottom text off and just have a single text view. That is possible. I can also bring it back by clicking on this bottom right icon. Now my display is back. Well, in case I want to use the app in a portrait mode, landscape mode, I can also utilize this other bottom right icon, which allows you to run your texts in a vertically arranged way. So let's keep it this way for the purpose of this tutorial. Now you see that on my right text, the BHS, I have this little icon up here, which basically tells you that I have linked the right and the left text. Once I have linked them, once I've tied them together, the scrolling of those texts is enabled in such a way that actually they scroll in sync. Now I can get them out of sync by just clicking on this little icon, and what you see is now an additional icon has showed up because now I can select a particular text here in my right text, while I can choose a different text here on in my left text. So I have Exodus chapter 1 verse 1 here on the left text, and then Deuteronomy 1:1 on the right. Well, once I have tied those two texts together again, you see we are all on the same page, and we have just one reference, text reference, display available. Okay, good. So the next thing is that for each of those texts you can define specific display settings. You can decrease the size of your fonts, you can increase the size of your font as if you want. You can choose the night mode. If you're in the night mode, you have this black background, or basically the colors are inversed. The text is white instead of black, and the background is black instead of white. Now you can also change the fonts. You can change the font color. You can change the font background. If you want to imitate a little bit more book style, you could choose here, for example, parchment or book. You can also decide to actually make visible an interlinear. Of course, with the ESV, an interlinear is less interesting, but you can select a couple of categories to make visible in your interlinear. For example, now I just chose the lexemes to be visible. Okay, if we go to the Hebrew text, you'll see that the same display options are available that we saw already in the English ESV text. The interlinear here is of course more interesting. You can choose many different categories here, so I think most interesting for the ones who struggle with weak verbs, and so the lex is interesting, and then probably the glosses, and perhaps if you want part of not part of speech, but the tag which contains the morphological information. Okay, let's get the interlinear off here. So the next thing that I would like to show you is how to open different texts. One way of doing this is by just clicking here on the top and then selecting any text that you want. Well, that doesn't work necessarily because we're in the Old Testament, so let's open the Septuagint. Here we go. Now we have the Septuagint opened. Texts are still synced. We can change any text here as well. Let's move here to the NETS, the New English Translation of the Septuagint. Now we have different texts. Now, a very important feature that I didn't know until last week is that you can actually open previously paired text. So at this moment what you saw is I changed each pane with a new text, but I could also change this one pane and get another paired text, another text that I paired previously opened. So what you see now, I clicked on the ESV and automatically the Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia showed up. So I had on my right pane before the Septuagint, the Greek Septuagint, on the left side the English translation of the Septuagint. Once I went to the library and I clicked on ESV, it opened up my previous text that I have paired together. So this is a very nice feature. Now, if I click on ASV, I know I have paired my ASV previously with the Nestle Island 28. So if I'm clicking on ASV, we should see here in a second the ASV on the left and my Nestle Island on the right. So this is really a handy thing that you should be aware of. Now, when it comes to searching, you also have search options in the app. And the great thing, in contrast to Logos, is you're allowed to search the text even while you're offline. So let's type in, for example, Sabbath. And I'm searching even if I wouldn't be connected to the internet, I could get my search results here. Let's move to my ESV. The interesting thing is when you're doing searches, you're doing actually lexical searches in translation. So with the ESV, that would allow me when I'm searching for go, for example, to find all inflected forms of the word go. You see go, going, went, and so on. Now, when it comes to the Hebrew text, you can also search here, perform simple searches. For example, here, Ya'aleh, you can just double click or you just push on that word, you can see in the instant detail window, which will appear regardless whether you connect to the internet or not. So this is really a great feature. You will see the basic lexical information, then morphological information, and then a simple gloss. And then you have the option to search. Now, if you click on search, you are receiving 4 further options, namely lexeme, inflected root tag. So if you click on lexeme, you will find all inflected forms of Allah. As you see here, Ya Ale and Yektol, and then Vaya Al, Vaitol Allah, Katal. Okay, good. The final thing that I would like to let you know is highlighting. You can highlight texts easily, although not as smooth as it goes in the Logos app. For example, the 7th day I want to highlight, I just click here on the and then pull it over and mark the text that I want to highlight. Then I click on highlight and then I choose the color that I want to have these 3 words highlighted in. So it's a little bit more steps to get highlighting done. Now, in order to get the full potential out of this, you want to make sure that you have actually connected your Accordance app with your Dropbox sync feature that Accordance offers. So for that, you go here to your settings and then make sure that you have Dropbox linked, as you see here, user content syncing to your Accordance app, because then all your highlights and your annotations that you're taking are going to be synced with Dropbox, and from Dropbox they are synced to your Mac or PC Accordance Bible software installation. Okay, I hope this tutorial was helpful. If you have any questions, just drop them into the comment section below this video. Bye.